All right, am I on? Am I on? Okay, all right. Here's another series of episodes. Nah, it's just another video because I am getting tired of. I'm getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions, messages regarding my position on why I have a lot of positive comments about Islam. And why am I kind of taking sides with the other side? Well, all right, I'm just gonna cut through the chase. If you don't know anything about Islam and you're one of the many millions of Americans that reads memes and one-line statements on Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that, and start stereotype, then you don't know jack shit. You just need to just open the book and read, right? Now, here's the long part of that. I'm not taking the side of Islam because I am pro-Islam. I came from a Catholic country and in my early years has been a reverend Catholic. In a country that was predominantly Catholic with a 8 to 10% population of Muslims. By the way, the largest Muslim nation in the world is not Saudi Arabia or any country in the Middle East. It's Indonesia. So again, read a book, okay? The second largest Islam country in the world is actually India. I think Indonesia has about 240 million of its population following Islam. India, I think, has 230 million. Next is Pakistan. Next is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is about 145 million Islam followers. So all you guys just want to stereotype the Saudis, Qataris, Iranians, especially now, and think that every one of them are evil just because they follow Islam. All right, again, open a book and read a book. But here's my point. All right, I say this stuff because again, people are I'm not going to say innocent, but people refuse to understand what's going on out there, all right? They now are asking me or giving me pointers about Islam on things that they don't even know about. So I'm going to lay this out straight to the point, all right? I'm going to lay this out straight to the point on what I know, what I've read, and what's out there. And you guys can validate this. No, there are no links out there. This is unedited rant coming from the top of my coconut, all right? This is unedited. This is what I know. And again, if I'm wrong, prove to me I'm wrong. Don't just blurt it out there, you know? Don't keyboard warrior. That's how I would say it. There are two aspects to this video. One is about the stereotype of Islamism or Islam. Let's just say Islam. Right? Let's not complicate this word. And why most Middle Eastern nations hate America. They didn't hate America after 1979. Let's get that stuff out of the... I keep reading this stuff. Oh, they started a war in 1970. We're going to finish it. Oh, they don't like us because of Reza Pahlavi or whatever. In a way, they're right. But again, lack of information. Let's start with the stereotype of Muslims and Islam. You know, the biggest stereotype that we're getting now is that the Somalis are bankrolling billions of dollars through fraud. And now all the Somalis are bad. Now everybody that follows the religion of Islam are bad. Well, we haven't heard any of that towards the Indonesians yet because they have the biggest Muslim population in the world, 240 plus million people in 8,000 islands. No, the Philippines only has the second largest archipelago of 7,101 island in the world. Indonesia has 8,000 plus, I do believe, or more. Again, Google it up, right? That's what that's there for. I'm not here to give you all these links. So anyway, the problem is, again, we don't have all the information and we stereotype all these people. That's why I miss the United States Navy. You know why? Because you see every sort of color, of skin color. And we work together for a particular mission. That's all that matters. We could kid around, call any one of our ethnicities certain names, and we just joke about it. We just laugh. And that's the truth. Now, if you're not going to laugh, you're not going to take it like a man. Well, no, wrong tribe. If you're not going to take it like as a joke because you know that somebody on the other side just said it as a joke, then you're the racist. That's what you are. Right? And that's what it is. That's what this is. I'm sorry if your feelings got hurt because you are. Right? There's no sugarcoating it. If you're following this cowardice in chief that's sitting up there and behaving like he is, then you're a racist too. Now you can go delete this or no longer listen to me from now on because your feelings just got hurt again. So anyway, so that being said, I'm just going to cut it there because we could BS here till goddamn midnight, talk about it. If you don't believe me, you don't believe me. If you believe me, you're going to follow it and you're going to validate it. You're going to go into Google and validate it, right? So, no, it didn't start in 1979. Sorry, people. Sorry for those that listens and read one-liners on Facebook. And that's all you do. That's all the reading you do, right? So I'm going to enlighten you here, okay? Let's take the case of Saudi Arabia. This video is going to discuss two countries, Saudi Arabia and Iran, okay? I'm going to talk fast, again, unedited. In the early 1900s, one individual by the last name of Saud, as in Saudi Arabia, right, ended up becoming the king by winning certain aspects of the local population through local wars. World War I came up. France and Britain, again, I got a video on this now, on why they hate France and Britain, ended up colonizing a certain part of Saudi Arabia. If you look at the map of Saudi Arabia, what they colonized was the eastern part, eastern shores towards the Strait of Hormuz, and the western shores towards the Red Sea. There was nothing in between at that time. It was just all sand till they discovered what? That black stuff, that goose, and that runs every machinery in the world at that time, the Industrial Revolution, right? So now France and the British decided to split up Saudi Arabia. And then, France, the dumb one, ended up having Syria and Lebanon. Yeah, because, they wanted all the glitzy stuff in Lebanon. British were a little smart. They took Saudi Arabia. Russians took northern Iran. Southern Iran was colonized by the British. Now, all those generations of Iranians and Saudi Arabians ended up hating their colonizers. Now, understand too, the United States is not in the picture yet. Till the 1920s, right? The new British oil conglomerate BP. I forgot what it's called at that time. But at that time, they were providing all this revenue to the king, Saud, right? And they were shipping out all the oil the king colonizer at that time was England, Great Britain, right? With all its colonized territories in India, Eastern Africa, Egypt, yes, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, certain sections of Saudi Arabia, the southern section of Iran, right? The northern section of Iraq was colonized by France. This was all brought about after World War I when the Ottoman Empire got obliterated, and how President Trump says they got obliterated and nothing happened. They didn't regain any of its power, and ultimately it became the new Turkey, right? So now you got generations of Saudi Arabians, Iranians that are totally hateful of Great Britain in the United Kingdom. And eventually, after World War II, right, wherein Great Britain started providing now all these territories back to the local population, including Palestine. Now you know why we're in such a big mess. The Jews, which found themselves in different Eastern European countries, predominantly in Turkey, now they wanted their own piece of the pie. Great Britain wanted just to get the hell out. So, make a long story short, there were a lot of mandates that happened in between. They pretty much provided the land of Palestine, booted out 90% of Palestine population are Palestinians for obvious reasons. Now they traded places. Now this big mess in the Middle East is because Saudi Arabians now don't like Western colonizers. Palestinians now are stuck in two different territories, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, which we just obliterated. There's nothing left there. Now you got Palestinians, 4 generations of Palestinians from the 1900s to the 1950s already disdain us. Now you got kids that are growing up that hate us more. That's just Palestine. That's just Saudi Arabia. Let's continue. I'm not done yet. So, after World War II, there was this engineer by the name of Mohammed that started becoming another Western trained engineer that had the philosophy of, if we start building our infrastructure, we could drill for more oil. Well, guess what? Muhammad has like 54 sons out of 45 wives. One of his sons was Osama bin Laden. All right? His father, Muhammad, approached the Americans at that time, which were drilling for oil. If we could drill more oil, we'll build the infrastructure and you guys provide us the capital to build all of this, because there was still no oil. They didn't have enough oil yet, right? They were still drilling. We can let you guys protect us. And this was concocted between Muhammad and King Saud. Now, at that time, nobody wanted Americans to establish a home base in any other countries, with the exception of wanting from Israel, right? Which we still don't anyway. There are no American bases at that time in Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, not Yemen, it's a shithole country from what you guys said, President says. Iran, Iraq, of course, none of them. King Saud said, you know what? This would be a good idea. You bring in the Americans to protect our oil infrastructure and they could build it with us. It'd be a good idea. We make money, right? All the Arab states says, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want the Western powers to be sending their engineers, their military into our country. Well, guess who was listening? Osama bin Laden. Take a little step further. In the 70s, when we started building all these conglomerates, building all these structures, Saudi Arabia was already the world leader in oil producing, and also gaining a lot of these allies through its oil, primarily Western powers, right? Take it a little step further. 70s, oil embargo. Why? 1979, wherein Iranian students took over the United States Embassy in Tehran. Why did they do that? Because of one family, the family of Reza Pahlavi. Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran, got deposed in 1979. How did that happen? Well, you gotta have to go back to 1921, 22, 23, when his grandfather was placed in power by a coup led by the Central Intelligence Agency. Now we're getting our feet wet in the Middle East, right? Now why are we supporting all these dictators? Because of that black stuff. Because of all that revenue and profit that we are garnering out of it. They're giving it away. All we gotta do is support a dictator, right? We're pretty good at that. Support a dictator, yes. I should know. I came from a country where the United States supported the dictator for 14 years of martial law. So when people tell me, you don't know what you're talking about, well, have you spent a day in martial law? I spent 14 years, bud. So STFU and sit your ass down and listen. Read a book. Anyway. So his grandfather, after being placed in power in the 1920s, ultimately gave up power to his father. See, they got deposed. Then they got put back again. 1951, 52, 53. By the United States again. Anyway, the 20s was a different matter. Okay, my mistake. 51, 52, 53, they were placed in power by the CIA. Okay, 21, 22, 23, by the Western powers, including Great Britain and England, right? And then the Shah of Iran, the last one, basically the grandson, ended up succeeding his father. Okay? When you have a dictatorship, the very first, it will always be the inhabitants of that country, the local population that will feel the pain, the Iranian people. So now all these generations of Iranians, all these generations of Saudi Arabians, all the way to Osama bin Laden, simply because we tolerated it. We put those people in power. You think they didn't forget this? It's the new generation now in Iran. Folks that were born in the 2000s, in their 20s, that doesn't understand this. Now, I'm not saying who's wrong or right. I don't really give a shit who's wrong or right. This is one of the most evil regime. But if you don't know what's going on in the Middle East since the 1900s, I mean, we can go back to 1400 if you want, during the Ottoman Empire. I created a video of that already. Okay? So, it is a complicated mess. And people tell me, no, they started the war in 1970. Who gives a shit who started the war? Who cares who started the war? They have been disdaining us since God created time, buddy. Since the Crusades. Nobody won, by the way, in those 3 wars, which spanned 200 years. 200 years. And we are worried about a 40-day war, which has now a 2-week ceasefire, lost or almost lost pilots, which we saved. Imagine, if they caught that WISO, Weapons Systems Officer, F-15 Echo, F-15E, and put him on the internet, streamed it live, chopping his head off, brutalizing him, torturing him. How would the American public behave? I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or in between or whatever your affiliation is. These people has been at war since the 1400s. You think they give a shit about oil revenues? They live in caves. They're, I don't want to stereotype. But to you knuckleheads that are ignorant about this and say, oh, they're just cave dwellers and sheep herders. That's how you believe they are? They can last more than 40 days, buddy. So I'm not against, how do you say this? I'm against this war. Because whoever's leading us into this war do not know how geopolitics works. Just because we bomb a few bridges and infrastructure, if they're going to surrender, we just gave them what they want in a 10-point plan. And we're going to walk away. The damn thing was open 40 days ago, bud. Oh, I'm pissed. Hell yeah, I'm pissed. Now, if you have a better understanding of what I'm trying to explain here, be my guest. Let me know. Marcus, you foolish whatever. See, I wake up in the morning. In the old days, when I was born in the 60s, I'm born in 62. I'm 63 years old. I'm an old fart, man. I'm going to be 64 here in 4 months, I think. Dang. Yeah. And you think I ain't got problems. They're going to take out my gallbladder. I got 2 arthritic knees. I got a bad back. the last thing I need is to fucking comb my hair. So stop bitching that I need a comb too. But anyway, so here we are, right? We are arguing amongst ourselves for the very reason that half of those folks that are arguing with me have no clue what they're talking about. Now, if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong. Marcus, you need to validate your... Tell me, man. Don't just let me off on a rant here. I know I have a YouTube channel and I populate it. I don't have a lot of subscribers because I don't ask for subscribers. This, you ask me for my opinion. You ask me what I think. I'm giving you facts. If they're not, you let me know. If there's another fact out there that you know that I don't know, that I'm not providing you, let me know. See, I'm already coughing here. I'm talking too much. So anyway, and that is just Saudi Arabia, right? And Iran. Are we not lucky we had Saddam Hussein? You know why? Because Saddam Hussein's, the Saudi Arabians, were in his position. We're actually on his side. They were the anchor when here's one other thing. Iran went to war with Iraq for 8 years. They were sending damn kids on chemical attacks. You think they really care about oil revenue now and how high the price of oil is? While us are bitching about $6, $7, $8 a gallon? We can't even make up our minds when we get stuck in traffic on the way to work, man. Or bitching about, it's gonna take me another 30 seconds to get my Big Mac on the drive-thru? Are you kidding me? Or my Starbucks, it doesn't have enough milk? These motherfuckers have been at war since 1400s or even earlier than that, and I don't know. See what you're doing to me, man? Like, oh, come on now. Okay, I'm going to cut this short because it's already on its... Oh my God, 22 minutes already? I've been talking for 22 minutes? That can't be that long. Anyway, so hopefully you learned something today, all right? You guys got any questions, concerns, asking for my opinion, please let me know. Again, to our men and women out there that are deployed, our sons and daughters, brothers, sisters, our spouses, husbands and wives, come on home. We all love you. I thank you for what you do now because it allows us folks that are retired